Alright, so I've got this thing moving pretty nicely, I think. Volumes are okay. The yaw is a little bit slow, but I fixed the issue where it wasn't wanting to work with the PID. It just kept taking over a little bit too much, and then it would oscillate a little bit. But I think that I've got that mostly figured out. The yaw is pretty good, just a little bit slow. It moves pretty well all around, I think. No autopilot or anything like that still. I do have fans, but they're way the hell down here. And that really messes me up. I oscillate a lot because it's way down here. I do have my fins over here. They're rudders. So I can try and counter with that, but I haven't set that up yet. Not sure if I'm going to set that up yet. I might figure out... I'm not quite sure what I'll do next. But I've got it flying at a point where it's good enough. I gotta slow down the collective a little bit. We gain and lose altitude very quickly. But yeah, I think it's mostly good. I'm just going to fly over to this farm because I kind of felt like it. It's very slow. We go 22 meters a second right now. We don't have any fans in. Whenever we have the fans in, we go a lot quicker, but it really messes us up. But yeah, I think it's got some good progress. I didn't record all the PID tuning. Just because it's really boring stuff. It's literally just spawn, test. Like, I've been doing that literally all day. It's not many PIDs, but it's just a lot to kind of go through. Some things that have changed on this since the last video. I think it's got a little bit more detail in the back. I'm not quite sure where I left off on that. I'm going to XML some new exhaust. Lots of work needs to be done on the engine still. I do have fuel tanks, so this is running on not on infinite fuel. They are very small though. They start off with 4,700. Just from that little flight to the lighthouse I went through 500. So I'm just going to kind of see where they're at here. I think it has a max range of like 20 kilometers right now. But I have a lot of room in here, so I'm going to move that fan back on both sides, probably 3 or 4 blocks. And then I'll get some more room for fuel. Because those two jet engines really go through it quite quickly. As you can see, we just lost like 100 feet very quickly. It also kind of messes us up a little bit whenever we stop. The roll just kind of goes a little nuts, but not anything to complain about really. But yeah, it flies really nicely. I do have to lay out the controls. I have to figure out if I'm doing monitors and stuff like that. I'm going to probably try. Yeah, so I do have to figure that out. But it controls really nicely. I have all the control I need, which is really all that matters. I don't have landing gear. That might be a good one to get done just because I just keep landing on the bottom. But it stays quite still also, which is nice. Like, it doesn't move around a ton. Like, I can go and stand outside and not be super worried. Like, it does move, and then I'm going to have altitude and position hold and all of that fun stuff. I also put in a seat, so it's not exactly at 0 yet. As you can see, these are my PIDs, so I have one for collective, yaw, pitch, roll, all of that fun stuff. I need to figure out these doors. Am I getting close to those trees? Not too bad. I want them, they should open out and back, but as you can see, that's going to be a problem. I don't want them opening out and forwards, so I'm thinking about making them open in and back, and maybe make this a little bit deeper or further out or something like that. I'm not quite sure yet. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure about that yet. But we've got things tuned in, so that's good. So it at least flies now, and flies alright. I can go over those PIDs real quick. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, actually, no, I wanted to see how much fuel I have. I gotta bring the clamp for that. Oh, there we go. I gotta bring the clamp for the roll and all of that. Fix that, because I don't have a ton. I have enough to control it whenever I'm in the air, but not really whenever I'm down. So we are down to, oh yeah, so we're down to nothing. So 400 liters. So from here, I left from there. So we have about 10 kilometers, we'll say that. about 10 kilometers range. So I definitely need to increase that because 10 kilometers you can't do much with. You also have to keep in mind that the fans are going to be on there as well. So that will increase it. I think it gets it up another 150 knots or so. Yeah. But having that extra speed will definitely help, but I do need the fuel. So I can go all the way up front as well. That might not be the worst, but I do need like paint blocks and things like that to make it look nice still. I do have a lot of room for micros and such in the roof and well, I want to put details everywhere, that's the problem. But I have a lot of room down here, so I can definitely put microcontrollers here. And then have the fuel tank extend, but we'll see. Here's what I have for all my PIDs. So every single one of these is just going off of speed. So I have a speed sensor for my rotation, speed for everything. My tilt is just a tilt sensor. So for yaw, it's very simple. I literally just take my rotation speed, and then where do I put that? Do I still use the PID? I do. And then I multiply that by a lot, by 100. I put that into my PID. I choose all my numbers. I clamped it to -0.5 and 0.5. Then I added a little bit for trim, which I just always need in there so I don't rotate a ton. And then I add that to my seat, and then that clamp is garbage. And then I feed this into my Lua, which basically just clamps it so that I can't rotate a ton. So the yaw is actually what I wanted to change, so we'll change that to 3.5 and 3.5. There we go. So now I increased how far I can yaw. That's kind of my speed as well. And then we'll increase that just a little bit too. So that should help speed it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and save that. And all of them are the exact same. Not all of them use the Lua and all of that. This one's very simple. This one is, what is this one? Pitch. I copy and paste them, so I have a lot of the names that are the same. Yeah, this is pitch, but it shows yaw. It's literally just going into a PID. I multiply it a lot so that the number will change more. And then I multiply the output because that needed it, and then I clamp it, and out. The reason I clamp it at the very end is just so that I don't add my seat and anything and it gets any higher. Just like an extra precautionary thing there. But yeah, so that's where I've gotten pretty much today so far. Not a ton that's really worth recording, just a lot of the same thing that I showed earlier. Just with the testing, changing a number, testing, changing a number, so it's really not all that amusing. But we will go ahead and get doing something else now, I guess. Alright, so it's definitely getting a little bit closer. I got the cockpit laid out a little bit, just a really general idea. I'm sure this entire thing is going to change a lot. I did decide I wanted to do some monitors, so that will be very interesting. I will beg somebody to do it or help me with it. But it flies still. Now that we have a parking brake, we don't twist around as much, which is good. We do have some wheels on there. Definitely need prettying up. As with all of it, I don't want to cover all of that up. I've had people tell me to cover it up and all of that, but I don't want to because it makes my life so much more complicated and just more effort than needs to be done. I need to make this go down a little bit just whenever we're starting up so that I don't twist around even a little bit because I really dislike that. And I do want this thing to be nice whenever I'm done. Surprise, surprise. I'm not going to go overly complicated with this one. I do want it. I'm not going to go realistic either to the actual helicopter. I'm just going to kind of do how I want it. Obviously, I know how it generally should be laid out, so I'm going to try and go along with that. The up-down is still a little bit sensitive for me. It's at like 8. So I'm going to lower it a little bit more still. Yeah, just a little. It's not too bad. That's just not how I want it. That needs a little bit more tuning still. I've tuned in a couple of the other a little bit, not as much. But collective still needs a bit. And then I need to do a ton of work to figure out these fans, because those are absolute hell. But I think it's going pretty well still. I'm still planning on doing it. A little bit more details here and there. I don't like that little triangle there, so I'm going to see if I can do something about that. But I think it's slowly coming along. I need to do a lot of work on those engines because those are just ugly. And then I'll probably start cleaning up the interior a little bit because that is really bad. And I need to stay invested with a nice build. I need to look nice so I can actually be interested. So I'm probably going to do that at some point. Maybe later tonight. I'm probably done for now. But I've got it flying today at least, flying well. I need to increase the fuel tanks. I need to work on those fins. A lot is done. Oh, that little block back there didn't save. I want to do that, but it does add the little black line, so I need to work on that. And then I need autopilots and things like that, but those require a lot of tuning, and I'm not quite done yet with the basics still. Once it flies perfectly and everything is there, like I still have a ton to do with fuel tanks and all of that. So once I get all of that in, I'll start to do some stuff like that. Just because the center of gravity will change a lot. And I don't want to have to retune everything. But it's flying alright. Autopilot in there will make me happy. And then I can start doing some controls and all of that and work on the cockpit a little bit more. I can work on a hoist as well. A lot of things I need to do still. But it's not flying too bad. I can hold the position pretty well. Like, I'm comfortable leaving this alone for a little bit without having to interfere. And I'm not worried about it going a ton. Like, that's pretty good for me. And we can come to a stop. I'm not quite sure if it's going to go crazy or not. I don't have anything turning those clutches off or anything yet. That doesn't seem too bad, though. No. We do go off a little bit, so I'm just going to cut that. I need to make sure that I don't just roll a ton whenever I'm stopped or anything, because I'm pretty damn close to the corner there. Let's see, we can go ahead and open up this door and go off the edge. Whee! Oh, I guess I don't have roofs. Oh no, these are just those weird little blocks I did. Come on, come on. Come on. There we go. A bit of a steep decline there. No, I think it's coming along good though. A lot of details I still have to do. Obviously, it's only the second day. I would like to get that fuel figured out because that would be good. Getting some of these monitors would be cool. I can get them laid out. I'm just bad with making them actually functional, but that's not bad. I know enough people that can help me with that. So that shouldn't be that big of a deal, that end of the world type stuff. But I would like to finish this one, at least before Pangu gets back. because as soon as he's back, I'll start working on the 7.6 again. And then I never finish a project ever again. But this one I'm actually quite happy with so far. And I think it'll be a really good helicopter once I get it all finished up. So we'll just probably finish it up there. A little bit shorter, less done today. But it's flying well. And yeah, a lot of tuning today. So pretty boring overall, but progress.